Hello and welcome to the most recent ACES Action on Carbon and Energy in Schools how-to video, which is on decarbonising with heat pumps. So why would you consider heating with heat pumps? Firstly, emissions from buildings mainly come at the moment from gas or oil boilers. If we're going to meet our net zero targets, in the UK and globally, we need to be reducing the amount of gas and oil boilers that we have. So that's the first reason, and a very strong reason why you would move to heat pumps. Is it a new technology? No, it's not. Heat pumps have been available for decades, and they're a really highly efficient form of heating, particularly across Europe. They've been used very widely. One of the other advantages is that reducing combustion through gas or oil boilers from public buildings will improve issues around safety. And with careful design, heat pumps can actually save energy costs without a loss of comfort. They can produce a very comfortable heating when they're correctly specified. We'll talk about in a further slide about energy costs of heat pumps. So what are the options for heat pumps and for renewable heating? Firstly, air source heat pumps. There's two options for that. There's air to air or air to water. Air to air come out of fan heaters, usually up on the wall or on the ceiling. Air to water come through traditional radiators. This is the most common kind of heat pump solution. Then ground source heat pumps. There's two subsurface options for that. You can have boreholes or you can have coils or lines that go about a metre below the ground, and that can be quite suitable for under a sports pitch, for instance. And there's the water source option if you happen to have a lake, which is probably unlikely. Lastly, biomass heating. That uses wood chips or pellets and is a solution that some schools have gone into in the past. It's not one that we're particularly recommending right now because the source of the pellets is always a little bit controversial, but they can work. If that's something that you're interested in, we would be happy to talk to you more about it. What are the benefits of decarbonising heating? Firstly, heat pumps create 3 to 4 kilowatts of heat for 1 kilowatt of electricity. That means 1 kilowatt that you buy in will produce much more heat, 3 to 4 kilowatts. Gas boilers create less than 1 kilowatt of heat for every kilowatt you buy in. It is a really efficient method of heating your building. As there's no direct fossil fuel consumption, you may be able to remove your gas meter completely. That will also save on gas safety checks as you go through the year. Carbon emissions from grid electricity will continue to reduce as renewables are added. So as the grid electricity is getting more and more based on wind turbines and solar panels, the carbon impact of electricity is continually on downward trajectory, which is just makes sense, therefore, not to use electricity for your heating and not gas and oil. Let's have a look now at the examples of heat pump running costs. So on the chart here, you can see that we've put a number of options for heating solutions. I think the thing that's most noticeable here is the carbon dioxide annual emissions from these different types of heating solutions. So you can see very starkly here how a new gas boiler would annually produce about 9 tons of carbon dioxide, moving right down to a ground source heat pump with solar PV down to 1.74 tons of carbon. But can you do this without it costing you too much? On an annual basis, yes, you can. Look at those costs. You're liable at the current prices of electricity and gas, and that's all we can go on just now, is air source heat pump will cost you a little bit more to run. But that's all up in the air a bit at the moment with prices. But by the time you get down to ground source heat pumps, they're equal to running a gas boiler, or even lower if you're using solar to support it. And this is the way we're going. There is obviously an upfront cost to installing these things, but there are low-cost solutions or possibly SALIX grants for doing that. So what if you're not quite ready to put in a heat pump yet because your boiler's still working fine and you're not ready to change? The aim is to continue upgrading heating with heat pumps, and that will be an ongoing process through the schools. But the following actions will help you prepare your school for that. So firstly, improve insulation in schools as much as possible. Heat pumps will be more efficient with excellent insulation, so that's certainly something that is an advantage now, but will be an advantage to when you move to a heat pump as well. Sometimes the radiators that you have currently in your classrooms may not be quite large enough to support a heat pump. So if you're replacing radiators, request those with a higher surface area. Heat pumps run at a slightly lower temperature. They give a very pleasant heating, but sometimes you will need larger radiators. So if you're replacing, make sure you take that into account. And never forget good management practices. Keep looking at reducing schools' heating demand through your management practices. And when you do that, that will make sure that the heat pump is correctly specified for the size that you need for your school. So a summary of actions. What actions will you take on heat pumps? Firstly, be aware of when your gas and oil boilers will be replaced. Is it in the near future? Get ready for that. What we're very keen for you not to do is replace gas for gas because you're in a panic because something's broken down. So get ready for that. What kind of heat pump system might be suitable at the school? I talked about the fact that the ground source heating can go under playing fields. If you happen to be having playing fields replaced, or even a hard standing playground, that's a great opportunity to put in ground source heating. Otherwise, probably air source is the answer. Will you include solar PV panels in the program of upgrades? If you are, then they can feed electricity during the day into your heating system. Again, mentioning insulation, have you addressed insulation as much as you possibly can in your building? And as a reminder to replace any radiators with units of higher surface area. So if this excites you with the idea of moving to a heat pump and you'd like to know more, then please do get in touch with us. The links are on the screen and we'd love to hear from you. Thank you very much.